Hello, Tracy Jo Callan here with Callan's Crafting Studio, and in this video I'm going to do a quick tutorial on my shirt birthday card or Father's Day card that I designed and shared in the Cricut community, and I've gotten some positive reaction on Facebook groups, so I just thought that I would show some folks out there that are new to Cricut, go over a couple things in the actual file, and then I'll assemble it for you to show you how to put it together. It's a fairly simple card that I think anybody can do. And Janet, this video is for you. I told you I would post this video for you tonight. So I just wanted to go over a couple things in the actual file itself. So I have two layers for each one of these pieces, for the collar and down the front of the shirt, as well as this little cuff and then the pocket. And the reason I have two layers is because I do a solid color in the background and then I do some type of pattern paper on the taupey color. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. I would just suggest turning off the taupe layers, and you can do that over here just by clicking on the little eye of each layer, and that'll save you some paper. I think it gives it a nicer finished effect and actually looks more like a seam on a shirt to have that extra little bit of solid cardstock in the background. I also use a piece in the back here behind the base, which just kind of helps it pop. You don't have to if you certainly don't want to. You could have the writing go directly onto the card base itself, but in order to do that, you would need to detach all of this and then just reattach it to the card base. Now, having said that, I just want to make sure that people understand how to change the writing. So I have these two pieces grouped together. So first thing you'd want to do, I pull it off to the side and then click on group. Now both of these fonts, one is called Blossom, I think this is Blossom, and then over here the Happy Birthday is in Cricut Sans. Both of those are Access fonts, so if you have a subscription to the Cricut Access, then this card should definitely be free for you. If not, feel free to change the fonts to whatever works, for you. So now that I've separated these two pieces out, I'm going to move this green piece back over here just to kind of get it out of the way, and I'm going to take and click on this piece with my mouse, and down at the bottom here I'm going to hit detach. When I detach that, that takes the actual writing off of the card. So I'm going to move this out of the way just because sometimes I have trouble grabbing these individual pieces if there's something else there. So you can see if you click on this and you double click on it, it's going to open up the text window, and in here is where you could certainly change the writing to say something else. And then you would do the same down here and change the sentiment. Or you can delete the sentiment at all. Some people like to handwrite their sentiments inside the cards. But it's there for you if you want it. If not, you can certainly delete it or turn it off. And then what you want to do is you want to pull this back over here. And what I do is I just click and drag so it grabs all of those pieces. I go back up here. First I align horizontally, and that'll make sure that it's lined in the width of the card. I prefer just to kind of eyeball where I think it looks good, but you could certainly continue using some of those align functions up there to get it where you want, or you can just drag it around to where you want it. Then what you want to do is make sure you have it all grabbed again, and then you want to hit attach, and that will attach it back to your piece of paper so that the Cricut machine, whichever you have, I have the Maker, will then write directly on the paper for you. And then you can just drag it back over here if you just visually want to see how it looks. And then you would want to do the same for the tag. You would bring it over, oops, see, I grabbed the wrong one. Bring it over, you want to ungroup it, and then detach the white card and change your sentiment to whatever you want it to say. The card base here in the back, which has a score line attached to it, is 10 by 6.5, so the finished size is going to be 5 by 6.5. I have some pre-cut card bases that I bought at Michael's that I prefer to use. It's just quicker and I don't waste as much paper. So whatever your personal preference is, whatever works for you, you go right ahead and do. So that's about it as far as the file goes, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how to cut the pieces on the machine, and then we're going to assemble it together. So I'll be right back. Okay, for this card, I'm gonna use several different materials. So I need a piece of white cardstock, I need a pattern cardstock, and I'm gonna use a black cardstock. Depending on the tag that goes in the pocket, you can also use a different color for the background of the tag, which would just need a little piece or a scrap or something that coordinates with your colors. But I think for this one, I think the black will still look okay for that. So I'm just gonna go ahead and change the color in the file to match the background pieces. And then I have my bone folder, and I have my card base here, and this is from Michaels. This is the Recollections brand. I think it was Michaels, not AC Moore. I'm pretty sure it was Michaels. But they there's 50 of them, and they're 5" by 6.5 finished, and they come with the envelope. So I really like these. I use these a lot and try to make a lot of cards in this standard size. So it works well. So I have the envelope. So, you know, they already come pre-scored. So you can just go ahead and fold it in half. Give it a nice crisp edge with your bone folder. We'll put that aside. For this, I'm also going to use some foam squares, and I'll show you what I'm going to do with those. And I really just need the advanced tape glider, and then I'm going to get some buttons, some black buttons that will work with the color choices that I've chosen, and I'm just going to use some little glue dots to put those on. So I'm going to go ahead and cut all of the pieces, and then I will assemble it for you. So a question was asked on which way that the pattern paper goes on your mat. Your pattern paper should be up. If you were to flip it over, the pieces are going to be backwards, and they're not going to cut properly. So you always want to make sure you put your pattern paper up for this particular card file. And because I'm using a card base, I'm not using the other side of the actual paper for the inside of the card. So we're going to glue all of those bases together. And once it's assembled, you'll see what I mean. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these pieces, and I'll be back in a second. Okay, so now I have all of the pieces cut. I also went and cut a little piece of twine that I'm going to use for the tag. And I got my buttons out, and the little bit of glue dots that I'm going to use to apply the buttons. Oh, fell out of the center there. So it's a fairly easy card to assemble. So what you want to do is kind of put your pieces together. So that's going to go with the happy birthday tag. One of these pieces is going to go on the front, and again, it's just a tiny hint of the solid black behind there. So that's going to go there. This is the piece that's going to go on the inside of the card. By the way, in my original file, I had one of the pieces hidden for the front page. So I've unhid that and resaved the file for all those out there. And then the two pocket pieces to go together. This is the front where the buttons are going to go. So those two pieces will go together. And then this is the collar. So those two pieces go together, and then this is a little cuff. So first I'm going to just go ahead and glue the inside. And I'm just going to use my tape runner for this entire card. It's quick and easy. And I'm just going to line that up in the center. Move my pieces up a little bit here. And then I'm going to go ahead and put the sentiment in the center. So I chose to make this one a happy birthday card. I'm actually working on inventory for an arts festival, and I'm making several of these for that to sell them, actually. So I'm going to line this up, and I'm just going to set that down. So there we go. Easy peasy. Inside the card is done. So now we're going to work on the front. So what I choose to do is I glue all of the pieces together first. So first we'll do the pocket, and I put the glue on the back of my patterned paper, all 5 sides. And I'm just going to line this up And I just kind of eyeball it. Be careful, you don't want to stick it down until you know it's where you want to have it, because otherwise sometimes it can be hard to get back apart, especially this tape will rip your paper. So there's the pocket for that. I'll do the seam. A couple stripes of that down there. I'll put that on my back piece, black piece here. Okay, there's that piece. And for the little cuff on the top of the pocket. Now this is going to be running the opposite way, but I think that's okay. It gives a little bit of dimension because I used some striped paper. Put that piece on there. Then I'll just go ahead and glue that right to the pocket. Just kind of line it up with the top and glue that piece on there. So that's the pocket, and then we just have the collar. So I'll go ahead and put some tape on all three sides of that. And just be careful and take your time as you're laying it down. Okay, there we go. And now I'm just going to put the main front piece here. Lay that down. Okay. Now I'm going to flip this over. Glue all four sides together on the front of the card. Make sure you don't do it upside down. Well, I guess it doesn't matter at this point, but I've done that before. Line it up and just set that down on there. Okay, so we have the front of the shirt. Then the next piece you're gonna want to put down is the part where the buttons are gonna go. And just kind of line that up. I move it in just a little bit so it's not right up against the edge. And just drop that down. This one's a little easy. It's kind of hard to see this one because of the stripes, but it's on there. And then, so here's what we're going to do with the collar. So the collar in the pocket is where I like to give it a little dimension, and I pop it up. So I'm going to put one of these foam squares down in the corner here. Kind of drop it right there, and then the rest of it I'm going to put some regular glue on. So we're going to go across, over, and then over on the bottom. All the way, try to get it out to the corner, okay? And this, just kind of eyeball it. If you want to match up your stripes, if you use stripes or not, you can. But you don't want to go all the way to the corner. You want to stay a little bit, oops, you know what? I forgot to take my little piece of, or did I? Oh, I did take it off. Okay, my little piece of paper there. I think I'm going to line up my stripes. Put it up at the top. So you'll see what that does is it kind of makes the collar look like it's popped up a little bit, standing up. So you don't have to do that if you don't want to. You can certainly glue it flat, but I sort of like that look where it's kind of standing up a little bit. So then for the pocket, I'm going to use another one, and I'm going to put it kind of down, not right on the edge, but sort of in the center there. Peel the piece off, and then I'm just going to only put my tape around the edges, but not across the top. So there's no exact place where you want to put this, but you kind of want to make sure, I think I have to glue those two pieces together, that you have enough room where you're going to place that. So I think right there, again, I'm sort of lining up my stripes. Looks there. So you can see, again, it gives it a little bit of dimension that looks like the pocket is open. So then we can slip the tag right in there. So we're going to glue the tag together. Put the tape in the back of that. Set that right down on there. And before I glue it down, I'm going to go ahead and put my twine on. And all I did was I looped it through, put it through the back. You could use ribbon, whatever you want. You don't have to use anything if you don't want to. I just think it gives a little bit of extra something on the front. So, and I just tie it through like that. Put some glue on the back. And we're just going to put that right inside that little pocket area there. And then what I do is here I just go ahead and trim this to the size that I want it, because I don't want it hanging over that much, so I'll just cut that down like that. And then all we have left to do is put the buttons on. So for those I just use these little clear pop glue dots. And just go ahead and put that on the back of the button. Kind of start at the bottom. I actually like to kind of sort of lay them out ahead of time just to get them eyeball kind of even of where I think I want them to go. That just helps a little bit. This size works perfect. This little glue dot works perfect for the back on there. I like all my little buttonhole centers to be facing the same way. I guess I don't have to, because probably on a real shirt they wouldn't be. Especially if it came off and you had to sew it back on. And the last one. There you go. All done. It's a very simple little easy card. Now, one thing I make sure I always do is I stamp the back of my cards. So I'm just going to grab my stamp here and my ink. I have a couple little different stamps. I think I'm just going to use this one. I got these on eBay. I love them. They came from overseas. They took forever to get, but you can really find some cute little ones, very inexpensive if you're willing to wait to get these custom stamps. So I'm just going to put that on the back. Have it. There's my own personalized little stamp. I think the barcode is so cute, right? It looks like a real card that comes from the store. So I hope you enjoyed this video of how to assemble this little card, or how I do it, and certainly customize it to whatever suits your needs. But whatever you do, have fun and happy crafting. So we'll see you next time. If you like this video, please subscribe to my page and click the little like button down below. I appreciate it. Thanks so much. Bye now.